And welcome to the DLP playoffs, game 2 of the Postwick Pelippers and the I can't fill me in. What is the name of their
Mesagoza
team again?
performers.
Mesagoma Performers. Yes, I'm still trying to remember the names. I just always go by their players, the coaches. We had a very fun match. Game 1 was won by the Postwick Pelippers with a very powerful size spam and a really good read into the go lurk with a heat wave when it switched in. It'd be interesting to see how these guys position themselves in this matchup because, again, we do see the size spam squad with the Espathra and the Delphox, but on the other side, we see the duo of dark types in the Morpeko and the King Gambit. So, what are you looking at here, Clumps?
Right, and I think this is one of those situations where for the Mesagoza performers, we see those double dark types as you mentioned, and Morpeko, he's just a disruptor. He loves doing the parting shot, he loves doing the snarls, he loves the fake outs, and really just kind of getting good chip along the way. And then for King Gambit, this is kind of Gamer's bigger threat into this team because it kind of stops that size spam mode for the most part, as long as he can
A
neutralize
little
that
bit.
Delphox. And of course, it kind of hits into that Sylveon, assuming that Gamer can actually get it set up in the right speed control for it. Um,
Y- Yeah, if psychic terrain does go up, the sucker punches cannot happen.
right.
So
And so it's going to be
so the
interesting to see if Gamer can kind of position those fake outs, because we see two here on the semi-port and that Morpeko. So being able to kind of get those pivots into those fake outs so you can prevent the side spam from getting up completely is going to be very important, I think.
Right. I do see the message the challenge has been sent. So if you do want to check on that game, um, it is going to be a very position heavy match. Gamer is a very position player, so I do expect him to be making the right calls. He in the first game, he wasn't quite able to get into the right position, but I think that after learning about how the team that he's playing against functions, I think that he's going to have some kind of answer. It looks like the Hisuian Typhlosion may be the answer. With that ghost typing, it could potentially be scarfed and very fast. Shadow Balls will be hitting um, half of his team for super effective and the rest for neutral. So Shadow Balls could be the answer to this Psy spam.
Right, and I think it's one of those things where if you're G for Gamer in this position, you've lost two head-to-heads against this guy already, so you're trying to just pull something out and see if it works at this point. So why not that Typhlosion, right?
Yeah, I do see that they're in.
Of course, and with the Postwick Pelippers, it's one of those teams where, I'm not getting the link. I'm not getting the link. But we see with the Postwick Pelippers, they have a really nice matchup into this Mesagoza team. Just because, Mesagoza doesn't have a primary wide guard user, and so he can kind of just spam those high-powered spread moves over the course of a game over and over again. And that's very interesting because we've seen lots abuse it all season, but it's especially good into this matchup where Gamer's kind of been playing on his back foot every single time we've seen this matchup.
Yeah, well, and if you look at his team, Postwick Pelippers, they have a spread move on every single one of their mons potentially. So it's a lot of damage output that Postwick Pelipers is dealing towards Gamer, and Gamer's team looks pretty passive with not a lot of heavy damage coming from the Semi-Pour, the Morpeko, or the Klefki. So all of the damage is going to be relied on the Venusaur and the King Gambit most likely, and then of course that Hisuian Typhlosion. I would imagine that there's going to be some kind of screen game with leech seeds, things like that, just to kind of maybe stall out some of these turns of the size spam. Potentially set up a leech seed in the early game, and then pass it off to the King Gambit, who can tank a couple you know be immune to some of that size spam. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what Gamer does in response to Lot Speech's hyper offensive team. It'll be interesting also to see what Lot Speech does differently, or if he just continues to do the same thing.
Right. I'm going to go ahead and give him the go ahead if you're ready.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like it's a pretty straightforward matchup for the most part here. Like Lots kind of does what he wants to do, and Gamer's just kind of playing around it. But the game is starting here. We see that Blastoise and that Rhyperior come out for Lost Speech, as well as that Venusaur and the Klefki for Gamer. He's going for some screen shenanigans early here, and this Venusaur's in a very nice position into Lots, having two very super effective options here into that Blastoise as well as that Rhyperior. Lots
Yeah, I
might have
actually
been on
really
his
like
deck,
this
but
lead. Really
Dakota.
like this lead for Gamer. Because of the fact that he can set screens early and also
And we see that
oh,
fake out
okay, we
from
do.
the Blastoise here. The light screen from G4Gamer, thanks to that prankster, goes out pretty quickly. Stomping Tantrum doing 69% into that Klefki. Not enough damage, or too much damage for Gamer to be happy with. Dakota?
I mean, yeah, but it's also going to be able to set reflect on the next target. Actually, we see it just swap out, which is interesting. And the Espathra come in the place of the Rhyperior. Blastoise protects. Giga Drain goes into the Espathra to pick up its take its health back to 100% on the Venusaur. So the Espathra actually took a big chunk of damage on that hit, but of course it is threatening with Illumina Crash potentially on this turn now.
Right, and we see that semi-poor switch in here for that fake out pressure. So Venusaur's in a really nice spot with this fake out pressure, and Spather's not going to be doing the full amount of damage it normally wants to do to this Venusaur thanks to that light screen. But we do see the Blastoise switch out into that Delphox. Venusaur will Mega here, and the Protect from Espathra. Semi-poor fakes out the Delphox slot, gets some decent chip, and the Giga Drain doing 22% into that Delphox slot. Not too bad at all. Dakota?
Not too bad, but it's now that the Espathra and the Delphox are in position, it's going to be tough to reposition yourself safely because the Espathra is going to be the fastest thing on the field, and then it's going to be setting the psychic train for the Delphox. Okay, so
And
we
we
do see
see
the
that
Morpeko
Morpeko
come out.
switch in here. Heatwave from that Delphox, not doing much to Semipour. Gets the burn onto Morpeko. And the Psychic Train comes out with that Scald in Semipour, picking the KO into that Delphox. Gamer dealing with some of this early. And that
Yeah,
Espathra at +2 from the boost.
that
Dakota?
was something that I had mentioned about game one is that the King Gambit had taken a one hit KO from a heat wave by switching in, and so this time Gamer elected to switch in the Morpeko instead of the King Gambit, and the Morpeko likes that heat wave a lot more.
Right, and then we see this Blastoise switch back in for lots here. Obviously, there's no more fake out pressure on the field on either side, but we see that Lumina Crash go into the Semipour, drop its special defense by 2. This Aguav Berry procs for Semipour and the Snarl from the Morpeko doing a lot of damage into both and dropping both of those special attacks. And the Grass Knot
Ooh,
from Semipour doing tons of damage to that Blastoise, making this Water Spout do virtually nothing into both of these slots, and Morpeko will survive that burn this turn.
yeah, he survives one more turn to do maybe get another snarl off and just kind of neuter the damage coming out from the Espathra and Blastoise, and we do see the psychic train starting to whittle down now. I think we're at three turns left, so and with the Delphox removed, it's possible that we could see a King Gambit switch here. Blastoise is also not doing a lot of damage, so it could be like kind of a safe swap in.
Right, and it's one of those situations where, Gamer, he's been doing a good job of controlling the game early. We see him get some of these win cons up, like Morpeko's spread damage, and the Sinistcha will swap in for Lost Speech, giving that Blastoise back up to 61% HP. Aura will come out for that Morpeko, and Grass not picking up the
Ooh,
KO into the Blastoise, but we see the Aura Sphere pick up the KO into the Semipour thanks to those drops. And that Sinistcha will
I
get some
think
HP, and the Morpeko goes down to burn.
I
Dakota?
think it was smart for Lot Speech to take the Espathra off the field, considering that the Venusaur is in the back now. I
Right.
just think that Espathra is kind of the answer to the Venusaur, but now we do see the Venusaur on the field. So,
Gamer did catch
um,
that mismatch as well. We see that Typhlosion in on the Sinistcha and a really low HP Blastoise, as well as
yeah,
this
this could
Venusaur.
very well just be an eruption. Honestly, eruption is going to take out the Blastoise, or if anything wants to switch in onto it, a Rhyperior even is going to take a decent amount of damage, and the Venusaur is putting pressure on that slot too. So it's not really a safe switch. I mean, we might even see Venusaur go for a Sludge Bomb. Actually, we're going to
But
see
we see the
Blastoise
double
protect,
protect for
double
Lost Speech
protect.
here, and the Eruption comes out into there. Psychic Train whittling down to probably just one turn here left. And Venusaur obviously going into that protect with the Giga Drain on Sinistcha.
I believe the play here that Lot Speech is trying to set up is that there's only one turn of Psychic Terrain left, and he's probably anticipating taking a double KO here. So he could be setting up the Espathra in another Psychic terrain.
Right. And it's interesting because this Blastoise has been sitting on the field for a bit here, and it's kind of just been taking that damage. Lots knows is kind of exhausted what it can kind of do here, so it'd be interesting to see if he preserves this Blastoise or let it just go down here.
Well, it did just use Protect, so I doubt he
Right.
goes for a double
And
Protect.
his
I
Pathra switches
doubt.
in here.
Oh,
The Eruption
interesting.
picking up 2 KOs here for G for Gamer. Gamer up big with momentum, 4-3. And now Lots has to answer with something here as he's got Rhyperior, Sinistra, and that Sylveon in the back with a Typhlosion that loves to spam Eruption here, as well as that Venusaur that can hit into both Rhyperior and Sylveon pretty freely. Dakota?
Yeah, definitely. That was an interesting switch right there. I anticipated just I anticipated lot speech to just take a double KO on that last turn, but he elected to switch in
And we see the
the
Eruption come
Espathra.
out here, doing good damage into both. Giga Drain picking
Oh,
up the KO into that Rhyperior, and Hyper Voice not doing very much to
it's
either slot
not.
here.
Both resist it. And I guess the plan was here that the Sinistra healing was more valuable than the
And we
Espathra's
see it
damage
protect
output.
from that Sinistra here. Eruption goes into that Sylveon, not doing very much thanks to that chip from Sylveon earlier, but Sludge Bomb does a
Ooh,
crit into that Sylveon, leaving it on 15% HP. Hyper Beam goes out into that Typhlosion, leaving it on 11% HP. And now we see Gamer kind of just leaving this Typhlosion on the field, get the Eruption off, get
probably
some chip, and
smurfed.
Sludge Bomb goes into that Sinistra, 55%. Matcha Gotcha, not enough to pick up the it is enough to
Oh
pick
yeah,
up the KO, and we see Venusaur not take very much from it. Sylveon must recharge though this turn. Lots in a very bad position with Sinistra at 43 and Sylveon at 12 with Gamer with 3 virtually full HP Mons left. Dakota?
and we do see the Supreme Lord or is it what is it called? Is it Supreme Lord? Supreme Overlord King
Yep,
Gambit,
and we
the
see that
ability on it?
Sludge Bomb come out
Yep.
into that Sylveon, and King Gambit will pick up the KO into that Sinistra slot, thanks to that Fallen Overlord, as well as just being a good type advantage there. And Gamers
Yeah,
evened up the series here. Dakota, if you want to take over for post-game recap.
yeah, you see him not trying to risk it, played it safe in that last turn, and use Kowtow Cleave and not Sucker Punch. That was kind of nice, little touch to wrap it up. Just nice, clean game there. Really clean game from Gamer's perspective, to be completely honest. The lead was really strong into Lot Speech this turn, with the Venusaur putting pressure on both the Blastoise and the Rhyperior, forcing switches. Gamer, welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Welcome, Gamer.
Good game.
Very, very
Thank you,
fun
thank
game.
you.
Do
Did
you
a
want to
really
go
good
ahead
job
and
of
start all the
positioning yourself.
questions?
All
Yeah,
right, all right.
yeah, you did a really good job of positioning yourself. Was there any takeaways that you had from game one that helped you win this game too?
Um, the fact that Lot Speech never switched his team, that helped a lot.
So you kind of expected the same game plan. It was a little bit of a different lead, if I remember correctly. But I noticed that you didn't switch your King Gambit in for the Heat Wave this time. You chose the Morpeko to take the Heat Wave, which was a lot friendlier.
Yeah. I figured that is Pathra, like the fact again, no, I'm not flaming on Lot Speech, but I'm capitalizing on the fact that he did not have a dazzling gleam for Morpeko. I kind of figured that he wasn't gonna do that again. And as long as I kept Morpeko, he physically could not touch the as long as I kept Morpeko and he physically could not touch it. So I just let Morpeko get in, even with the burn. Oriel still did wonders. So did the Snarl, especially the Snarl.
Yeah,
Getting screens up early is also good. Is also a really good way to keep my momentum from just kind of skydiving off a cliff.
right. Yeah, put the pressure on early to just be able to keep up with his team on like the amount of offensive pressure that he puts on you. Yeah,
Ready?
yeah, go for it.
Alrighty, so Gamer, obviously you go into game one, you get a little bit of an upset from the Postwick Pelippers. They just played really nicely and they read you a lot, and nobody was really feeling great after that game. And then you come into this game too, right? You go ahead and make the right read off rip. You set up everything you want to do. You get the snarls off into the Espath or Blastoise slot early, and just otherwise are just whittling down this lot speech team that likes to have that HP. Was there any like specific prepping that you went into with maybe Vinico that helped you with
Yeah.
this?
Me and Vinico definitely stayed up a while trying to crack the lines for this team. And honestly, I would not have been able to take this game without him. Huge shout out, and also congrats for him winning his week as well.
Yeah, I was about to
Um,
say he just won his game in a pretty handily
yeah.
fashion himself. So congrats to both of you guys.
And then
Uh,
obviously, if I can move on, sorry.
yeah.
And obviously, this season you've had your fair share of critiques. We've heard you can't win a series. You're just a regular season merchant. Is this a step in the right direction for you? Are you feeling really confident after this win?
Yes, I am feeling confident. Obviously, it's not the war isn't over until one of our score counts hits three.
Right.
And I honestly would like to give a good luck to Lot Speech in the future games. But another thing is that Vinico has told me that the like as I s- saw as you saw in turn six, that's the position I want to be in where no matter whether Speech switches out or something else in, Venusaur and Hisuian Typhlosion will pick up a knockout whether he likes it or not. Um the fact that that's like the board stake that kind of forks lot speech is also another conclusion we came to together. As you could tell, he it kind of went into a protect war there, where he
Right.
had to protect both of them to scout out what was going to be. Because I'm pretty sure lot speech did not know that Typhlosion was scarfed, and also Venusaur there is just going to be way too bulky to for Blastoise to even take out. So forcing that Espathra in, getting rid of his second side spam option was really good here, as well as forcing out the Rhyperior, which we've calced to always drop to a Giga Drain from Venusaur Mega and non Mega.
Right. Well, if Dakota has any more questions for you, he can go ahead and ask them. But that's all I have.
No, I just wanted to say, congratulations on your game. This is a really clean game. This is kind of what I expect to see from you on a weekly basis, when you play your games, because this is really just well positioning. You talked about, like the fork that you created in his team, and I had noticed that when you brought it out on field, and yeah, it was really impressive game. It was really impressive to see you answer back from what had happened in the first game. So yeah, it
Right.
was congratulations to both of you guys.
Dakota's pretty much saying exactly what I'm thinking right now. I'm very proud of you for winning this game because the optics are looking a little bleak a bit there, but you've shown you can hang with the big dogs, and you're not gonna let Lot Speech roll you over. Um,
Yeah, no. We're all here to win that $20 that's in the first place prizing.
was actually like
Um,
$40, but
Oh,
yeah.
pot's going up, guys. You hear that?
But I would like to thank once again. I'd like to thank Vinico for the immense prep that we've done. I'd like to thank Clomps here for hosting this amazing league. I'd like to thank Dakota for this amazing commentary. And honestly, I'd like to thank Game Freak in general for being able to make Pokemon in general.
right, yeah,
Obviously,
no.
there is some tweaks that needs to be done. Like please give us Dusclops.
Dusclops, please. But yeah, no. It's been great having you on, Gamer. It's been a while since I've had a post-game interview with you on it. So thanks for stopping by, and hopefully this is the start of something special between you and Vinico and the Mesagoza Performers playoffs as a whole. But until next time, I'm Clomps. Dakota has kind of led the charge today, and if you want to kind of get us out of here.
Yeah, this is shaping up to be a pretty exciting series. So I hope you guys tune in for the rest of it, and I hope you guys have a great night. This has been Dakota and Clomps, and G4 Gamer joined us for post game interview. So you
For
guys have a great
sure.
night.
That was a real fun game, guys.